There we go, thank you. Right, we'll get started now. I will introduce you to James shortly, who is our presentator, our speaker from TXGB. But just to give you a little bit of sort of place setting, I guess, with regards to this opportunity. TXGB, which I'm sure some of you have seen with the emails we've sent out, it's a digital marketplace, and it's been developed in partnership with VisitEngland. What it does, in a nutshell, is it offers your business to widen your distribution. And it allows distributors, so other organisations, to actually access your tourism product for them to sell on their platforms, or the bookable tourism products on their platforms. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the opportunity to drive sales to your business. It can certainly help you with the recovery off the back of COVID. And actually, it's and James will pick up on this shortly, but it's a very cost-effective way of you actually selling your products for a cost-effective means. Several destination management organisations like and equivalent to Visit Buckinghamshire have signed up over the past 18 months. I'm sure James will talk about how many partners they've got that have signed up. So we know it's a tried and tested product. A number of other organisations across the UK are utilising this. So I think it's a great opportunity for us at Visit Buckinghamshire, but also for your business. I'm going to hand you over to James very shortly, who'll talk you more about the platform, how it works, and how you can sign up. I will just come off this screen. Talk you through my screen. My screen has frozen. Just a quick agenda, very quickly. Obviously, I've just done the introduction from myself. James will talk about TXGB, as we've discussed. As very kindly volunteered, Jim from Orchard View Farm has actually recently opted into TXGB, so he can just talk you through how easy the onboarding was, or the connectivity, I said, to the TXGB system. As I said, there'll be a Q&A session. We have said the close will be at 12:30. I'm sure we'll finish before then, but there's plenty of time for any questions at the end. So I'm going to stop my sharing, and then James, you can take over, if that's all right.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Wow, getting some feedback. Can everyone else hear that?
I'm just going to come off mute.
All right, okay. I think that's working. Cool. Thank you for that. I'll just share my screen, and I'll share my slides so that I've got something to talk through with you. Just shout if no one can see that, but it's appearing like it's sharing on my screen. So I'm here today to talk about TXGB, which stands for Tourism Exchange Great Britain, and the opportunity this presents for all businesses in Buckinghamshire, both to work with Visit Buckinghamshire and their own campaigns, but actually connect the market more generally. And for some, get bookable online for the first time. We know that increasing the amount of bookable product that is available online is core to our goal, and the reason why we're partnered with VisitEngland. So just to touch on that partnership, we launched just before the pandemic, so great timing. This new digital platform and marketplace, which is really set out to enable businesses to trade and collaborate and innovate with each other in a much more fluid way. And obviously the goal there is to really kind of get people working together and grow the economy. We make it easier than before to be bookable online and to share products with a range of distributors, and I'm going to talk through and bring some of that to life for you today. But of course, the goal for you as tourism businesses is really to reach new customers, drive up sales, and actually hopefully help with productivity as well, because we know that actually to reach a number of a wide range of customers, that it can actually take quite a lot of admin time for you, so we try and minimize that. The problem with the UK market is that we have a very, very rich and diverse sort of ecosystem of tourism businesses. That is a blessing, but it is also a curse, because that diversity and authenticity of suppliers, we read a report last week that said there are 230,000 businesses in the sector, and over 90% of those are SMEs. So actually, you know, bringing all of those SMEs together and trying to get them to work in a concerted fashion is a real challenge, and something that you know, we really see as a core part of our mission. And if we can do that, if we can bring everybody together into a marketplace where they can all work with each other, they can work with the likes of Visit Buckinghamshire, they can work with you know, the larger global brands that are in their part of the sector, but actually they can work alongside and sort of compete but complement you know, the other similar businesses. It will unlock the full potential of the sector. So it's a big mission that we're on, but there's some really key immediate steps that everybody can take to be part of it, and that's what I want to try and get across today. So let's sort of back to basics on what TXGB is and how it works. We're a central marketplace. On the one side of a market, we have people who have a product to sell, and on the other side, there are people that wish to sell that product to a consumer, or maybe even to another business. And we know that actually by just connecting those businesses in a smarter way, we can actually drive up trade and help people work together more easily. So what we do is we don't displace any of those other players in the market. We're not a distribution channel. We're not a consumer brand. We're not trying to take on Booking.com. What we're trying to do is enable all of those channels that reach consumers to connect to industry in a smarter way. Equally, we're not a booking system, so we don't, you know, we're not trying to be, you know, a PMS system that every hotelier uses, or a ticketing platform that every attraction uses. We connect into those systems in order to bring the market together. So we're very complementary to everybody else, and very unique in our own purpose and existence. One of the things that's really unique about what we do is the connectivity that we have to local distributors as well as global distributors, and to be part of destination campaigns. And that's what we were talking about just at the top of this meeting, about how we get working with DMOs and how we can enable you to drive bookings through those local destination sites. So the good thing about local destination sites is, you know, they drive bookings on your own terms, so that you, as a consumer comes along and wants to buy a product from Visit Buckinghamshire, they're actually buying it from the supplier directly. It's a bit like the Amazon marketplace, where you go to Amazon and you want to buy, you know, whatever it is you buy from Amazon. You don't always buy it from Amazon. You can actually buy it directly from the supplier. They're just using that marketplace as a way to reach the consumer, and that's what we enable DMOs to do. That same kind of booking journey, and it means that you can be part of, you know, smarter regional and national marketing campaigns that are really focused on conversion and support your local destination. The good thing about DMO channels as well is that the commissions are really low. And we know that commission in this market is a really hot topic for tourism businesses. You know, there are pros and cons to working with any channel. The massive benefit of working with DMO channels is that they often charge very low commissions. I know that Visit Books are charging 2.5% on their bookings, which is extremely low. And when you compare that to OTAs that may charge, you know, upwards of 15-20%, it really does show the value that can be achieved by connecting and working with them. And this is a proposition now that we're working on with over 70 destinations around England. We're in the process of rolling out to the whole of the UK, but we've focused our first year or so, well, actually 2 years now, on England. It would have been a year, but the pandemic stretched it out a little bit. We've got more than 70 destinations that we're working with. They all connect to us via the same technology, and that really helps those destinations work together on a national strategy for increasing distribution. We do, of course, work with a wide range of other distribution channels as well. Some of them are quite unique to TXGB, like the Rugby League World Cup campaign that's really been targeted towards the north of England, where the World Cup is being held. But other, you know, really established channels such as TripAdvisor, Viator, Booking.com, etc. I think one of the more interesting things, and one of the reasons I think that I know some of the people on this call have connected to TXGB, is that we help underpin and bring together national campaigns. The campaign that's really stealing the headlines at the moment is this National Lottery campaign that we are working on. It's been delivered by Visit Britain Shop, and TXGB is the sole connectivity partner of Visit Britain Shop. So in order to get into that campaign, we need to get those businesses into TXGB and opted into the Visit Britain Shop to be part of the National Lottery campaign. This is a campaign where National Lottery are sponsoring millions of pounds worth of vouchers that will be available to ticket holders. So if you're a National Lottery ticket holder in October, starts at some point in October, you'll be able to redeem your ticket online at Visit Britain Shop and claim a £25 voucher towards a day out for the family. And so obviously it's a really big stimulus campaign to get people out and about in October, to really help family attractions in that period, get bookings. But actually, I think the thing that's really, really important, this is that the brand exposure that it gives everybody that's part of that campaign is huge, because it's going to be, announced on television. A lot of people will be looking at the products that they can get from this campaign, and even if they don't choose to use that £25 voucher on your particular product at that particular time, the awareness that I think it will bring is really, really strong. So it's a really good campaign to be a part of on lots of levels. And of course, if anybody has a family attraction that they feel will be suitable, join TXGB and we'll get you into that campaign as quickly as possible. And connecting to TXGB is a term that we talk about, and I want to explain what that means. So when we talk about getting your product from wherever it's stored right now and into the marketplace, we know that there are a variety of ways in which that can happen. Some of you will use booking systems or property management systems or ticketing platforms, and we connect to those platforms so that they can connect you into TXGB and make the process of loading product automated. We're connected to a range of platforms across different areas of the market. So in the accommodation market, really big channel managers like SiteMinder, the Oracle platform, UK property management systems like Caterbook and Anytime. We really are sort of connecting all the time to lots of different systems. And then on the activities and things to do side, it's a very diverse landscape of different platforms, but we're connected to the likes of Boken, Fair Harbor, DigiTickets, Bookio, which is quite prominent in a number of markets, Web Ticket Manager, which is a really strong UK business, and the likes of Venesis, who work with really large attractions in the UK. We are connecting again all the time across all those different areas. So whatever booking system you've got, we'd like to know about it. But if your system isn't yet connected or you don't have a booking system, there's always a way to connect. We've got a direct load tool called TX Load. There's no additional charge to use TX Load with TXGB, so it's not an extra layer of cost to take into account. It's a very basic tool, and it is deliberately intended to be an entry-level solution for those that either need a temporary solution while their booking system's connected, or are just starting out with online bookability. But our team do help you load the products, they explain it all to you. There's lots of help videos and one-to-one support available to get into the platform and connected to a variety of channels. I think once you understand, the size and range of the opportunity with TXGB, to maybe get your own website bookable for the first time, to connect in with, really large channels if you wish, but also to connect in with a whole host of smaller channels and campaigns that are run by the destination. It's really important to understand the way that costs work and how much it costs to be part of TXGB, but also how commissions are charged with individual channels. So TXGB has no sign-up costs or subscription costs. All the support that we provide is entirely free of charge. What we do is we charge 2.5% on all bookings that flow through the marketplace. So that's a marketplace fee where we can effectively, ensure that we have added value to that business before we take in a fee for that work. The distributors commission, so as you log into TXGB and you can see the range of different distribution channels that you work with, their commission is stated up front. So you know what kind of commission you're getting into when you start to engage with that channel. Their terms are up front as well, so they have booking terms that are presented as part of the platform. So at that point in time, you can see the commission range that you'd be working with them, the kind of terms that you're engaging with, and also the kind of channel that they are. So whether they're the merchant of the product or whether they're a direct payment channel like we talked about, where the consumer funds are passed directly to you. With TXGB, everything is set up via direct debit, so there's no monthly invoicing or admin overhead to worry about. We automate all those payments to TXGB, and we also automate any payments to the direct payment channels. So channels where you've received the money from the consumer directly, you then don't need to worry about paying that channel their commission. TXGB does all of that for you and sort of lays it out in some documentation each month. Where you are working with a direct payment channel, you don't need to worry about setting up a payment gateway. We use Stripe, so you can connect into Stripe. That will either work with your current merchant ID, or if you need to get a new one set up, Stripe will help you with that. So again, if you've never traded online, you can get set up to trade online immediately. It's about a 5 to 10 minute process to get Stripe set up. Of course, when you're taking direct payments from consumers, there are credit card processing fees, but I'm sure that everybody recognises those fees, and they're typical for the market rate to build into your cost model. So to summarise, I think that the overall points that we're trying to make, that TXGB is free to sign up, and there are no subscription fees, no monthly fees. The only fee you'll pay to TXGB is the booking fee, and that will only happen when bookings flow through the market for you. We share your data in real time with the channels that you want to share it with. So we send the availability, pricing, any content that is stored in your booking system is passed through. So actually, the way in which you load into those channels is really streamlined. As you work with more channels, you will start to reach different consumers. Some channels will be there to drive volume for you, and they may charge a higher commission if they're really high volume channels. Others may help you reach niches, and others may just help you diversify that distribution so that you've got a real blend of volume and quality in terms of the consumers that are coming through for you. It helps you optimize commission costs, because obviously if you've got a broader range of channels and you can pull those levers, you can opt in and opt out of channels and test and learn and see what works for you. You can then start to optimize the costs that you as a business have to sell product to consumers. We know that that's a really important measure that every business, no, however big or small, needs to get right. We create unique access to these direct payment channels like Visit Buckinghamshire, so that you get paid directly, that you get the cash flow from the consumer, that you get the customer data through the platform, so that you can start to build a relationship with that customer straight away. So that's a really sort of new way of distributing product that's unique to TXGB and offers some real distinct advantages in the market for you. And of course, by being part of a destination campaign, you're actually enabling that destination to drive smarter campaigns, the data that they accumulate through understanding, when campaigns are driving bookings and when they're not, the consumer insight that they can get from those campaigns, the commission that is earned. So although it's a very low commission of 2.5%, you know that by paying that commission, you're actually sponsoring the DMO and helping them drive new campaigns. So it's a virtuous loop of funding and a way to really drive the destination forward. And we've been going for since June 2019. I would say that 2020 was a really almost a year where, you know, we couldn't really get the bookings in the market were very suppressed as they were across everywhere. So we really feel like we've been going for more like a year, even though it's been 2 years. But in that time, we've managed to get some really good case studies from businesses of all different shapes and sizes. So, you know, Coventry Transport Museum is a sort of real, you know, local authority sort of asset of Coventry. They've driven huge volumes of bookings through using TXGB, mainly through their own website. So they actually drive a lot of bookings through their own website with TXGB, and that's a really nice thing to have seen take off over the last 6 to 12 months. Rob runs a food tour in Manchester. He was one of the first people to get involved in TXGB back in 2019. And, you know, we really could see straight away how he was getting bookings on Visit Manchester, getting bookings on TripAdvisor, and across various different platforms. Melissa at RHS, you know, RHS are a real sort of national brand. They have lots of gardens across England. They they didn't connect for a while because they've got a really complex back office set of systems, but actually have been able to use the team and our tooling to get into the platform and start to use it and leverage it, which has been, you know, a journey that maybe has taken a few months to actually bring everything together. It's actually really hugely valuable now. We've got that in place, so we're really pleased to be working with RHS. And then here we've got a hotel in Cheltenham, where it just shows that whether you're a small food tour guide, whether you're the owner of a hotel, whether you're the marketing manager for, you know, a large national brand like RHS, there is always something that TXGB can offer and a way to engage with the platform and the channels that we're working with. So the message that I wanted to send today was just very clear about the opportunity that TXGB presents, both with Visit Buckinghamshire, but more broadly. Also to explain the national campaign around with the National Lottery at the moment, because I think that's a really, really important campaign that everybody who's got that kind of product can be part of. To show how easy it is to connect and what we're doing to make that easier by connecting to different systems and investing in that area. And then just explain the costs, because I realised that, you know, where there's a cost for TXGB and there is then, you know, a cost on each individual channel to take into account, the important point is there's no obligation at any stage. Once you to join TXGB, there's no cost, so there's no outlay at that point. Then you're only engaging with channels that you want to engage with, and you agree to their commission levels. So you're always in control of that cost of sale, and that's something we're really passionate about. That there's that degree of management and control around how much distribution costs, because we know, you know, it's such an important topic for all businesses of all shapes and sizes. So, as predicted, I think we are we've got quite a lot of time for questions, and I know we've got a provider that has joined recently, who's got hopefully some kind words to say about the team. If not, I'll drink my tea and prepare myself for the barrage.
Thanks, James. That's brilliant. Yeah, very happy to have some questions, but if, it might just be worth Jim popping in very quickly just to give his feedback on the connection to TXGB and how easy I hope it was. I think it's too early to tell with regards to bookings, because it has just been in the last couple of weeks, hasn't it, Jim? But just how easy the system was to navigate and set up.
Yeah, so probably best just, so for those of you who don't know, I've got a farm shop, cafe, butchery, but I've also just added end of last year, this year, a 50 pitch campsite. So we use the anytime booking system for our campsite bookings and campsite management. And I must say, I didn't even know about the TXGB thing or any of these campaigns or whatever that are going on. I still, first time I've heard about it, certainly the National Lottery one. Sounds quite interesting. But so Lucy's email came through about sort of this TXGB and the tie-up with Visit Buckinghamshire. So I thought, right, I'll having 10 minutes free and an international man of action, I thought I'll get on and do it. And it was a very simple form to fill in. So for anybody who's A, short of time, and B, not very technically competent like myself, I can't even change a light bulb really. It's very easy to do and really quick. It was a few weeks ago, so my memory is somewhat faint on it. But I know there was, I had contact from, I'm going to say possibly an account manager or somebody helping. Anyway, James, you might know a bit more. I think it was a lady called Susan, who was very helpful, sent me all the links and everything I needed to do. I've signed up for the form. She then confirmed that we're all live and ready to go, and that was kind of really it. You get all the emails through, you have a dashboard that I think James showed very briefly there, which shows all your links. I haven't really explored any of the other links. I've kind of been sitting on my hands waiting for the Visit Buckinghamshire one to go live, and that's going to be my first link this year. I mean, we're towards the end of our season now, and we have to close at the 31st of October anyway. But over the winter, I'm certainly looking to sort of knock this side into shape. But it's cost me so far, I think it cost me £10 a month for my connection from Anytime Bookings to TXGB, and that's just a channel cost. That so if I link to anyone else, again, each link that Anytime Bookings charge me is £10 a month for that. That's about it. It all seems very sort of simple so far. I think the complexity or the work's going to be really in, as James was saying about some of these other channels and who you decide to go to. And I wasn't really, I must say, I haven't explored that at all. So I can't really talk about that. But I think that's probably where it's going to be worth investing the time and sitting down and thinking about that. Because they said there's obviously fees to pay, but the 2.5% is very attractive for us, considering Pitch Up charged me 15%, which seems to be quite a lot to me. So 2.5% is definitely very good. I can't really say any more than that, other than it's simple. It doesn't seem to be complex to drive. And there did seem to be somebody there at the end of an email to actually help, which is really nice. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, please do.
Great, that's great. Thanks, Jim.
I think the important point there around there being someone available to help is something that we really take seriously. You know, we really want to help and support businesses through this process, however simple it is. You know, you mentioned there, Jim, about the range of channels and just getting your head around how all that works. There will be somebody there to help you sort of understand all that and think about, the type of product that you've got and the type of channels that are suitable for you, all the campaigns that would work well. You mentioned there the National Lottery campaign. That is a campaign that is for attractions rather than any kind of accommodation product. So that's why we won't have mentioned that to you. But there are other campaigns all the time. We had Escape the Everyday was a campaign that Visit England ran through the summer, and all kinds of products were kind of available to that campaign. So we would have been talking to you about that and how you get involved with it. So yeah, I'm glad that it's been easy for you, and I'm glad that we have been at the end of the phone for you, because that is really important to our team.
Can I just ask one quick question? Obviously, we were just talking about all the other distributors that, as Jim said, I need to spend some time looking at what and what ones are going to be beneficial to my business. I understand that those distributors can also contact you to say, I would like to sell your product. Is that correct?
No.
So it is literally, so it's just you as the business owner.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing as well, that what we don't do is we don't give people's data out to, you know, a whole range of channels that will just bombard you with, you know, with basically try and reach out to you. Now that can be good because you need to know about them, but it is very much geared towards the supplier being in control of their distribution, having a simple dashboard where they can read through each of the channels, you know, what it is that they do. So quite often the channel will talk about, you know, the type of consumer they target, the sort of investment that they make in reaching an audience. So like I said, if you're Booking.com or Expedia, you're reaching millions and millions of consumers on a monthly basis. Other channels will focus in on particular niches, you know, whether it's pet holidays or cool holidays or different things, and they'll explain their proposition in that dashboard panel. But actually at the same time as the sort of sales pitch that they're giving you, they're also telling you the cost, so the commission that they'll take and the terms and conditions that you need to agree to work with that channel. So all those kind of things that you need to understand to make a business decision are in one place. And we know that, you know, historically in the tourism market, to get an understanding of all those opportunities, you need to go to trade shows, you need to meet people, shake hands, you know, maybe agree to contracts, to really think about the different rates that you're going to push through. It's kind of all bundled up in one simple dashboard, and by doing that, we know that will speed up the way in which people can work with each other, and actually make sure that more product is available in more channels, and will grow the economy naturally as a result.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for James, or indeed for Jim? I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Sandra?
I do. Am I muted or unmuted?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. I think this might be perfect for us. So we're a tiny little holiday cottage in Buckingham, first ever holiday cottage I've ever owned, probably the last. We opened last December, disastrously, and entered lockdown and followed more lockdown. We actually signed a contract with a holiday, I'm sure I can say, they're called Sykes Holiday Cottages. And we made a mistake, basically, because Buckingham, that's where our cottage is not a traditional holiday cottage destination for the model that Sykes have. So I guess we signed a contract, we're still on contract, we're desperately ending the contract as soon as possible because it has not been successful. Now, whether or not that means that Buckingham as a destination for a holiday cottage on the model that we have, which is really you've got to stay for 4 days or longer to make it viable for us from a changeover perspective. We're not a hotel. I guess the questions are, so we were just we've bought our website destinations, we bought everything, but we haven't actually built anything yet because we're now wondering whether or not even being a holiday cottage is a successful, good idea. Here we are about to enter into October. We have had some bookings in the summer, we have. But nowhere near enough to make this a viable proposition for us. So if I get on the phone to the TX Load crowd then and have a conversation with somebody, I'm just trying to get my head around, I believe our better chance of obtaining bookings is by being through traditional Airbnbs and Booking.com sites, which we're not allowed on the current model that we're with this awful contract we've got with Sykes Holiday Cottages. If anybody's thinking of going with them, don't do it. So I'm just wondering how you can help me, just me, Lacemakers Cottage in Buckingham. What can you do?
Okay, so first things first, do you have a management platform that you're working with to actually?
No, it's with Sykes Holiday Cottages, the whole thing. That was the reason that we chose them, realistically, is to take away all of that pain. They do everything. So we're about to venture down the road of either going down Airbnb and Booking.com's direct platforms, which is easy, or else launching our website, which, as I say, we've got the name, we just haven't built the website yet. Okay. And it's choosing where to go and what to do with that, really. Yeah.
So we can provide I think, a sort of central solution that helps you explore those different avenues and see what works for you. So first things first, you don't have a booking system. Rather than jump in and buying a booking system that will cost you, I don't know, anything from, you know, I don't know, £20 a month up to whatever, TXLoad does provide an entry tool to actually just test the market. The good thing about using TXLoad is that once you've kind of got to grips with what you're trying to do as an organisation and what, you know, how you want to manage things, you can then pick one of the booking systems that's connected and just sort of move into that platform. But as a very, very sort of you know, first step onto the first rung on the ladder, TXLoad will allow you to load the product in, set your rules. It is very basic, and one thing that we'd want to look at is how your, you know, what business rules you've got and whether actually TXLoad as a very basic tool supports those rules. But it sounded relatively simple from what you were talking about there around, you know, minimum night stays and things like that. So we'd look at getting you set up on TXLoad, getting the different, I mean, it sounds like you've got effectively one holiday cottage that is, so with that single property, that single product, we'd then help you create bookable links for your own website. So you talked about having your own website. Actually, once that website is produced, you can just insert the bookable tool, so a widget or a bookable page. In fact, you could link that page to your Facebook account if you've got a Facebook account, and all the different assets that you've got as an organisation, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, you can put that bookable link in there. So all your live availability, effectively your diary system, is published to the website and all those assets. That same availability then can be published to all the other channels in TXGB that fit your model. So we could help you opt into Booking.com, Expedia, C-Trip, you know, all the big channels that are out there are connected. We're just in the process of connecting Airbnb, which I think will be really important for you. That's going to come sort of later on in the year. But we can effectively give you one portal that connects to all those channels and centralises that management. But of course, you can join the Visit Books website and be bookable through Visit Books as well. And any other kind of smaller channels that might fit. I don't know, someone like Cool Places might be good if you've got like a really nice holiday cottage in an area. They look for those kind of products. And each channel will have different commissions, they'll have different throughput, they'll create different flow and different, you know, consumers. And then you can measure that over time. And I think the main thing is to get on the ladder, like I say, and start to, you know, see how many bookings you can generate directly through your own website and your own channel, your own PR. See how the destination can you know, drive that brand awareness and bring bookings through. But also, you know, it sounds like volume has been an issue with the current situation, and, you know, connecting to Booking.com, connecting to TripAdvisor, connecting to Expedia and those kind of channels will certainly give you the, you know, a really good chance of solving that problem. And we can help you then, you know, in getting your account set up. Like you say, you know, Booking.com, you need a Booking.com ID. We can help you get all that set up and linked, so all your product is linked through effectively, and you're fully distributed on those channels. And we've seen businesses like yourselves, you know, small, independent, first time in the tourism industry, maybe start to drive bookings almost immediately. You know, once you're online in the right places, and you set up in the right way, it is a numbers game. You know, you just got to get the product out into the right channels.
Yeah, totally agree. And I'd say from our personal experience at the time, we felt that going with a holiday cottage company was the right thing to do. And it's not until you try and that you realise that down the road it's actually not the right thing to do. For us in Buckingham, I don't know how Visit Buckinghamshire people feel about Buckingham as a destination, or you know, in terms of it's not a traditional place that people might think of going on holiday for a week, perhaps, whereas you might do going to Cornwall. I think that might be our issue.
But that's a really important point that you make, that every destination is different, and nobody knows the destination better than the DMO. That's what I always say. Like, and they know that because they speak to you, they speak to all the businesses in your situation, and then you can start to establish, well, actually, what is the kind of standard model that a business that looks like this should be doing. We can get them into TXGB, and we know the channels that are going to work for them, and we can start to use that insight to unlock the potential for more businesses. And that's where TXGB fits in that triangle between tourism supply market, distribution, and the authorities that are they're charged with helping grow the economy. So yeah, I think you're a perfect situation for us to help. And like I say, as you grow, we wouldn't want you to be using TX Load forever, because it's a very basic tool, and you'll grow and you'll probably go out of it at some point. But that's the point that you can then quite easily work with one of the connected booking systems, finding the right feature set that works for you, the right price point. We have systems that large hotels use, and that clearly wouldn't be suitable for you. We have lots of systems that smaller independent cottages and B&Bs and that sort of thing use as well. So it's just then picking the right one that works and migrating that all across.
Okay, super. Yeah,
Sandra, I'm happy to have a conversation with you offline with regards to.
Thank you, Lucy. That would be really good. I'd like to talk to you.
No problem. And actually, I've spoken to a few destinations with regards to their onboarding of TXGB and which businesses did it work well for. And I think that what came out loud and clear was very much organisations like yourselves, actually, Sandra. It was those smaller organisations that maybe didn't have a website, didn't have online booking, just needed a bit of a boost of what they're doing already. So I think there's been some great success stories of other similar organisations. And again, happy to maybe make some introduction to some of those businesses and other destinations to see what they've done and how they've done it.
You're absolutely right, Lucy. There's a really key point there that tourism as a sector, because of its fragmentation, it really focuses on the sort of short end of the tail, if that makes sense, where the volume is, and the big brands, and they are typically really well distributed. They've got revenue managers, marketing managers, all looking at the channels that work for them. And what we're not trying to do is somehow unpick a part of the market that is working either really well or reasonably well. What we really want to do is make sure that the long tail of tourism is properly mobilised and brought to bear to drive everything forward. And that's where you look at 230,000 businesses, over 90% of those SMEs, actually bringing them all together and starting at that side of the market and working upwards rather than going the other way and working downwards. That is really core to what we're trying to do. And the reason why working with DMOs is critical, because they know the Sandra in every destination. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think just picking up on that, actually, just one point for me is, even for those larger organisations, I think we've had a shift in the tourism landscape off the back of COVID, and I think there will be a lot more national campaigns and a focus on the domestic market that Visit England drive forward. And I think we're working with TXGB, for those bigger organisations, I think you'll have more of an opportunity to take part in the national campaigns run by Visit England, whether that's Escape the Everyday, whether there's something similar like the National Days Out lottery for attractions. I think there'll be more of this to come, and I think that will be a brilliant opportunity for businesses, the larger scale businesses, to play into.
There will. I think the point I would make is that we do work with those larger businesses, but it's usually a much more complex scenario. And whereas for you, Sandra, I think within a week, we can make a real difference to what you're doing. Obviously, you've got a contract that you need to work within the boundaries of that as well. But for larger organisations, it might take more like a month or two, because we've got to speak to 5 different people about how they get connected and get their ducks in a row. We're committed to working across that whole piece, but I think it really would work quite well for you.
Good.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone else?
Sarah's had her hand up.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah.
Thanks, James.
Right.
I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm head of operations for Buckinghamshire Business First, and I'm here because I tend to lead the digital projects in our organisation across all of our activities. So I'm here to support Lucy in deploying this, and Jim has very kindly offered to be our guinea pig in terms of him going live first. There were a couple of things I wanted to say really. One was around control. It's been mentioned several times, but there was a step in Jim's process after he'd signed up with TXGB. He had to choose us as a distributor via the TXGB portal, and that applies to all of the other distributors. You're in control of your data and where it's made available. So Sandra, hopefully that reassures you a little, and Jim's kindly done that, and he's agreed to be our guinea pig. I'm about to make this go live on the Visit Buckinghamshire website for the first time, Sandra, so I might have some hopefully tips to support you in deploying locally. I think there may be some other people on the call that have dipped their toe in the TXGB water. TXGB came back to me after we shared the attendee list. So again, if you want to opt in to Visit Buckinghamshire, then we can, obviously we're on a journey and we're going to push this through fairly quickly now. So if you just want to make us aware, well, actually you don't even need to make us aware, you need to go onto the TXGB portal and opt in to Visit Buckinghamshire, and we'll see, you will get a report of who's opted in, and we'll be working through that list quickly. There's probably never been a better time post-COVID in terms of recovery, but things like the National Lottery campaign, there's going to be a lot of energy thrown our way in terms of the visitor economy, so really good opportunity. And also, Sandra, this is really low risk. There is no cost to you other than some of your time in making this go live, and I think that's really important to all of the small micro businesses on the call. I'm looking at Violetta as well. Sorry, I don't know you all. Lucy probably knows you better, but this is really low risk. It just requires a bit of time and effort up front to connect to TXGB. We do the job of deploying it on the Visit Buckinghamshire website. I know Lucy's planning a follow-up after this webinar in terms of dropping an email to you, but what I'd like to suggest is once Orchard View Farm's gone live, that we send you another note just with a link to his profile, and you'll then be able to see it operational with his availability and the booking feature embedded within the Visit Buckinghamshire website. I think that was all I had to say. Happy to take questions though.
Does anybody have a product that they don't think will fit with TXGB?
Yes, I do.
Go on then, let's hear about it.
Well, we're a tour operator. We've been in business for 25 years. We do high-end trips. We sell mostly to Americans, long haul, but we've obviously flipped, the last 2 years sold a lot of staycations. But we're selling multiple accommodations, so one night or maybe two in maybe 4 or 5 hotels along the way for a trip.
Yeah.
So you saying, well, go on and put your availability. Well, how can we do that? It's very difficult. We don't hold places in hotels. When we get a booking, we ring up the hotels and find out if there's availability for the dates requested. We don't hold any availability.
Yeah. So
can't see it working for us.
Yes, it will though. The problem that we've got in this scenario is that most of the businesses on this call are at the supply end of the market. So they're the hotel or the attraction or the product side of it. I would really say that you're at the distribution side of the market. What you're doing is you're selling that product to a consumer or maybe to corporates or whoever your customer is, you've got to kind of bring that product together. So actually what you would want is your own access to live pricing, availability, and the ability to see those products in real time and potentially sell them on. Now that might be that might not be something that you're looking to do. It might not be something you wanted to do online, but if you did, we speak to a lot of businesses that are trying to, create. In fact, before this call, I was on with a really interesting tour operator style business that is looking to get more online bookings and connect directly to live product, live availability, live pricing. So you as a channel for Buckinghamshire, let's say, even just for the people on this call, if their product was connected into your business in real time, how many customers could you reach in that staycation domestic market? So you would operate on the other side of the exchange. If you had live pricing and availability and you bundled and packaged product together, then you might choose to supply that into the market. But I think based on what you've said, it would be certainly as a distribution channel.
James, I wondered if it might be helpful. So when we were looking at TXGB, your team shared some case study type examples with us, and there was one I remember. I think it was to do with rugby actually, but it was an itinerary type thing where you got a choice of which hotel and that sort of scenario seems to fit Wendy's, and we could perhaps share that as part of our follow up.
So that's a really good example of it's another national campaign that we've been a part of. So the Rugby League World Cup, probably not too much heard about it in books because it was really north of England where the games are being hosted in 18 different sort of host cities. What they wanted to be able to do was create a fan travel portal that combined a match day ticket with local accommodation providers and local attractions, so that the fan could effectively build their World Cup experience, but do it directly with that local market and have a customized portal for each of the host cities. So they effectively set themselves up as a distribution channel. They allocated their tickets, because they're the owner of the tickets, into that portal, but alongside that encouraged local accommodation, local attractions and experiences to opt into their channel and say, do you want to be part of this? And that got really widespread support across most of the cities that are involved in the games. And I think it's a good example for you, Wendy, in that you can set up a trading platform like that has online bookability for a range of products at minimal effort.
It might be worth a call, Wendy, or a conversation with one of the support team, because again, you have different contacts, don't you, for the different, whether you're a technical or tech provider, distributor, supplier, that might be worth picking up with that. And I'll send the.
I can't really see it working, but I'm interested in talking to somebody. I mean, I know the sort of places we work with, and a lot of them don't have online live availability. They're not those sort of places, but I'd be interested to talk to somebody. I think it's unlikely, but
I think it's worth a conversation, isn't it?
It would extend our exposure, which why I'm interested in doing it. I mean, maybe we put one tour on there that we create specially that works with this platform, I don't know, rather than sell all 102 tours that we've got or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, you can be selective around the providers that you work with. So if you've got a distribution channel that's got a unique audience or reach, or you're looking at maybe the luxury end of the market or wherever it is, you can then attract those providers to work with you. And as soon as they're opted in, you've got access to their pricing, availability, and all the product content. So you can get that into your website campaigns really easily. A low cost of acquisition, low cost of merchandising. And so hopefully that helps you drive quite a a lean operating model for that part of the of your business.
Great, thank you. Is that all right, Wendy?
Thank you.
Great. Just one question for me as well. Just I've been speaking to a number of our businesses, again, those smaller end of the scale, organisations, and quite a few of them use Eventbrite. Now it's sort of a ticketing portal, and so many of them said, well, I sell on Eventbrite. Will Eventbrite connect to TXGB? Is that the type of system that would?
We're looking into whether we can connect with Eventbrite. It is a slightly different system. I think the thing that I would ask them is, are there one? I'm not quite sure what the fees are with Eventbrite. I've had differing.
Yeah, they said that there's sort of 3 or 4 different pricing. The basic was very basic in terms of you couldn't do different prices on different days. So yeah, the more complexity or the more complex your business or what you want to sell, the more you have to pay. That's what I got from them. Most of them were on the basic, to be honest, James. I think the ones I saw.
Yeah, and I think that would be something to look into to see what the scenario is for those Eventbrite users. Like I say, we are looking at the connectivity, but it's not. It's more of a sort of retail channel than a booking system. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure how that works. They do have some API documentation that we've got in the assessment stage as things stand. But it would be I'd be really interested in actually if you could get a group of 2 or 3 Eventbrite users that may be using it in different ways. We should have a little workshop to see, how we can help them, because ultimately, they probably do want to be part of the Visit Buckinghamshire campaign.
Yeah.
Might be that we can help them do the same things in slightly different ways. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Any other questions from anybody else?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Karen.
All right, hello. Yes, a question for James. Sorry if I'm going to go over anything for anyone, but it cut out halfway through. I lost the sound.
Is that right?
I'm a little bit similar to Sandra at Lace Makers, where I've got a couple of property businesses anyway, but one main one is MK Short Stay that is very geared up to Milton Keynes. And we set that up years ago. But I've taken one property out of there, and it's in Aylesbury. And like Sandra, I've had a really disastrous with a provider, which is cottages.com. They promised the earth and delivered nothing, a bit like Sandra. So because I'm in that market anyway, I knew it was disastrous from the start and I should not have done it. But now I'm out of contract with them. I've taken one of the properties from MK Short Stay and put it with Avivo. So that does go across all the channels like booking.com and so forth. So it has its own little standalone website now, which we've even rebranded it and recalled it a different name. So it was how to, a bit like Sandra, to promote it in Aylesbury, because, Aylesbury is not the greatest destination anyway, but it's certainly not a holiday destination. It's bringing me bookings, but it's not holiday, it's not tourism really. So it was just really how to expand on that, because I did miss a lot of the advice you gave her.
Okay, so Avivo are a property management platform, and they do have a channel management module within that connects to the sort of major channels, so you likes to booking.com, etc. And like I said at the start of the call, TXGB is not geared towards displacing any technology or anything that exists in the market. What we try to do is complement anything that's there. And obviously the Visit Books website, forgive my geography, Aylesbury, is that within the right? Yeah. Sorry. So to be part of Visit Books, you would need to be in TXGB. Avivo are not yet connected to TXGB. We know them very well, and we've been speaking to them for a long time about it. But they have a roadmap of connectivity that, you know, as I say, they connect to lots and lots of organisations. So we're kind of discussing where we sit on that roadmap with them and how soon we can be connected. While they're not connected, that particular property would need to be loaded separately into TXLoad and then made available to the channels. I'm interested in the fact that you've got a sort of suite of different accommodation. Are they all managed in different ways? Do you have systems with others, or is it, how does that?
No, a lot of the properties are just standalone properties anyway, but the ones that are in Milton Keynes are under a brand called MK Short Stay. So
Okay.
that you can find us on the internet anyway, but because the market comes and goes, you have to change market. So sometimes I'll just change the market of these things and put them out to long lets. Because Milton Keynes gets very saturated anyway. And because I've been in property for so long, I'll get a feeling for it, pull it out, and then just put long-termers in there, particularly if you've got a lot of people having a go, buying all these apartments in Milton Keynes and flooding them with booking.com, you know. So yeah, they tick along and we pull them back, but it's the one in Aylesbury that we've sort of relaunched as a standalone dedicated short-term property. So that's the one. I mean, because it's got its own little standalone website now through Avivo with a .co.uk little website, whereas MK Short Stay is not a secure bookable product. You'd have to book us direct. The Avivo one is bookable. So could I push that through the TXGB as my own little website, because it's secure, it's bookable, you're not paying commission rates on it, it's like booking directly with us?
Yeah, so your Avivo website, the website, your own direct bookings essentially are powered through the Avivo platform. So you're paying the subscription to Avivo, the cost for Avivo to have that portal. Now Avivo is a really comprehensive booking system. It's certainly, so it's targeted probably at businesses slightly bigger than yourselves, I think, generally speaking, from what I know about it. But it is a really comprehensive tool. But obviously you're paying a monthly fee for that. So versus Sandra sort of stepping into the market and not paying for that ability to start with, she may choose to work with a platform that's connected to TXGB, like Avivo. So someone like Caterbook is probably very similar. They're connected, they're a UK business, and can be offer the same sorts of tooling. You could, with that property, get access to things like booking.com and Expedia, I believe, through the Avivo platform.
Yeah, I do, but I'm still subject to their commissions, like 15% and so forth. Yeah. So if I could funnel it more through you, it's just the monthly fee for Avivo and then the 2.5%. Because of the cost of stays, I monitor the commission, and the commission is very high at 15% on my bookings.
Yeah, so with TXGB, each of the channels that you work with do have those commissions. So TXGB doesn't allow you to avoid like booking.com commission or anybody else's commission. What we do is we connect to all those channels. So with Avivo, they do that in their own way. I think there's a charge for reconciliation of payment or something like that they charge as bookings come through. They charge on a different model to TXGB. But essentially, I think for you, if you're with Avivo, sticking with Avivo and are using Avivo for access to channels like booking.com, in order to get that product live into Visit Buckingham, you would need to use the TXLoad tool to allocate some availability into TXLoad for it, until a point at which Avivo is connected. Now, we would like Avivo to be connected as soon as possible, but really we need users of Avivo to, express that to Avivo and say, I'm an Avivo user and I want to have TXGB connected, because then that roadmap of connections that they're building will get higher up that roadmap because we're a higher priority, because more people want us to be connected. That's just the way that sort of software firms work. So I would say, you know, it would be good to express that interest to Avivo. But in the meantime, we can certainly get you into the Visit Books campaign through TX Load, and that gives you an opportunity to assess just how that works as well, and whether that's suitable for any of the properties that you've got and that you work with.
Hi, can I just say something? I'm Nikki.
You can hear me because I'd love
Oh.
Hello. Sorry, I don't know whether Karen or Sandra who was talking then, but I'm Nikki from Visit Buckinghamshire, and I just want to sort of reassure Karen and Sandra that our remit is to make places like Aylesbury and Buckingham attractive to visitors, and that's what we do with our website. We write articles, and we also suggest places for people who are visiting to stay, like the properties that you have, and suggest things like itineraries, like, you know, if they're staying in Aylesbury, they can go to Waddesdon, and from there they could use it as a base and go to other places like Bletchley or whatever. And if you're staying in Buckingham, you can go and visit Stowe. So that is part of what we do, is we, even though people might not say, oh, I must go to Aylesbury, we let them know that, you know, what's around Aylesbury, and, you know, therefore attract them to places like, you know, the cottages that you have. So, you know, I just wanted to sort of let you know that's part of what we do if you become a member of the Visit Buckinghamshire website.
Nikki, I think that's a really valuable point, because the challenge that I think both Karen and Sandra have articulated there is not just in terms of getting online and bookable, but actually in sort of sitting within a channel that is inspiring people and driving people to that destination and driving them to their product. That is what DMOs do best. They're really, you know, they're passionate about the area. They write lots of content. They get a lot of organic visitors to the site. So, you know, people who are researching and figuring out where to go. If we can put a bookable link in front of that consumer and do that easily, then that will help generate sales and will help drive people to the thing and get them, you know, make them aware of your product. So I think it's just a really important dimension to understand the role of a DMO, and the reason why, you know, TXGB was kind of thought about and conceived, like I said, in those early stages, to empower this network of DMOs to be more bookable and make sure that those campaigns have a booking link at the end of it.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, and as you rightly say, James, it's all about getting that consumer on our website from looking to actually booking products. So the more businesses we have that are bookable, it attracts more traffic to our website, and it means we don't lose people, because once people can't book, they then go onto another website and then another website, and then you've lost the motivation for somebody to book.
That is a really important point.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anybody else got any other questions? As Sarah said, I will just share very quickly. I'll just share my screen very quickly. Here we go. Just to do next steps, just to clarify some next steps. Can everybody see my screen? Just taking a little while to get onto presentation mode. Hang on, sorry, I did have it on the right slide. Apologies, everybody. So, just next steps, and as Sarah said, I will send up an email to you all today with the slide deck from James, so you can see a little bit more detail what was talked about. I'll also put on the main contact details in terms of connecting TXGB. So obviously you can see here there's a website, and the instructions I've had from the TXGB team is, if you are looking at signing up, to go via the apply now, which is the bright red button, big button on their website. There's also a telephone number that you can call to track to one of their support team that can talk about the benefits that partnership can bring to your business. There are also a number of really useful tutorials on the TXGB YouTube channel. There's probably about 8 or 9 different ones that cover a number of different aspects, so I'd highly recommend visiting those. As Sarah alluded to, when you do sign up, don't forget to select Visit Buckinghamshire as one of your distribution channels alongside all the others that you might decide to opt into. And then with regards to, I think probably attractions were limited on this call other than Roald Dahl, but for attractions, if you're looking to be part of the Days Out campaign, again, I'll put this on email, but there's the email address there that you need to email with your expression of interest to join that national campaign. To be part of the national campaign, Days Out campaign, you do need to be a member of or signed up to TXGB. So I'll follow up with an email with a slide deck from James, links to the YouTube channel and information on where you sign up. But if you've got any queries or anything like that, then please let myself know. I'm not very technical, so hence Sarah's on this call, so I'm sure she'll help, but I know the team at TXGB are very on board as well, and will support you as needed. So if anybody's got any other questions, now is the time. I'm going to stop sharing. No other questions? Great. Well, we'll finalise the call now. Thank you very much, James. It's brilliant. Thank you all for attending. As I say, we will do a follow-up email, and any queries in between now and then, please reach out to myself or Nikki. Thanks. Take care all. Bye-bye now. Bye.